In today's tutorial, we're gonna build a simple yet fascinating project. That's a website that fetches historical events from a specific date using OpenAI's GPT and of course displays them. So when you open the website, it will show you what historical event happened on that day. The purpose of this video is to show you how you can use OpenAI API and create wonderful projects. At first, we need a virtual machine to run our web server. I'm gonna use AWS to set up a virtual machine. I'm gonna use Amazon Linux. But of course, just remember that you can always follow these steps on any server or even locally in your laptop. So we're gonna launch instance and let's give it a name. I'm gonna say OpenAI project. Then we're gonna choose Amazon Linux and we can just use T2 micro and it's free, by the way. I'm gonna say that proceed without key pair and then we're gonna use all the default settings. Let's launch the instance. It is created and it seems that everything is okay. So I'm gonna use connect. Either you can connect like from here, EC2 instance connect, which is like very easy, but you can also use SSH to connect to your machine, which I'm gonna do the same. So I already copied my SSH key from my local machine to this authorized key file. So it's already there. Now I'm gonna try to connect. So SSH EC2 user, I'm gonna select the correct IP. This is a public IP. Yes. I'm gonna switch to root user. And first we're gonna install Apache, which is a popular web server. So that will serve our web page to the internet. So I'm gonna use yum install httpd provide y option. It means that yes, it's complete. Then we're gonna do systemctl. Let's say enable now, which means that start as well httpd. So it's enabled and it should be started as well. Systemctl status httpd. So as you can see that it's active and running. Now let's check that if it's really running. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna copy this IP address, put it here. It should show some default page, but it seems it doesn't work. I think we should give some access actually, because right now this runs on port 80. Basically it is HTTP. So I'm gonna go to security. Then we are gonna edit the security group, edit inbound rule, and we're gonna add HTTP, and then we're gonna allow from everywhere. Save the rule. Now it should be fine, I guess. Yes, right now it works, so all is good. Then the next step is to create a simple, very simple HTML page. So I'm gonna use Vim. First, let's create the file. Touch var www html. Let's say index.html, and we're gonna open it. I already created some simple HTML content. I'm just gonna paste it here. So this is it. It's a simple boilerplate and we have just one title, today in history, and then we're gonna get the history from OpenAI and we're gonna paste it here. So let's just save it and let's refresh the page. So okay, it works. Now it's time to interact with our OpenAI's API. First, we're gonna go to OpenAI platform. Here it is. So basically, if you're already using ChatGPT, then it means that you already have an account. But if you don't have, just create one, just sign up. That's easy. So I'm gonna log in, go to API keys, and here we're gonna create our API. Let's create new secret. Let's say that it will be OpenAI project. This is the name of our key. It's in the default project. The permissions is gonna be all. Create secret key, and that's it. We have to copy this key, and I'm gonna paste it here. So just remember that we have to keep this API key very secure and never expose it in public repositories. The next step is we are gonna create a very simple Python script that will interact with OpenAI API. So I'm gonna create a script here. So let's say touch OpenAI project.py, and we're gonna open this script. So let's say from OpenAI module, we're gonna import OpenAI class. But before that, let me save it. Before that, we have to install this OpenAI library. So we're gonna do pip install OpenAI. Pip is not found. Let's install it. Pip yum install Python 3 pip. Yes. Now let's install OpenAI again. Okay, it's done. Let's do pips released. So it's right here. Okay, everything is okay. So let's open the script. We already imported our OpenAI class. Then we're gonna initialize the client with our API key. So I'm gonna say client equals OpenAI. Here we're gonna have API key. So we already pasted it here. I'm just gonna copy it, paste here. That's it. It means that we're just initializing our client with this API key. The next step is to send the request to OpenAI. So let's do this way. I'm gonna say response from OpenAI. You can just write whatever name you want here. So I'm gonna say client dot chat dot completion dot create. So we are creating a request, and here we are gonna say message equals to, we're gonna have a role which is basically the user. So I'm gonna say user, and then we're gonna have the content which is dynamically created to ask about historical events on today's date. So we're gonna use content, and then what content we're gonna use. So we're gonna say, let's put string here, and we're gonna say what's the most famous thing that happened on today in history, and let's put a question mark, close the quote, and that's it. But I'm gonna replace this today. Let's say today. Today means that like it's the current date. So we're gonna create a line. We're gonna write a code that gets the current date actually. So let's say from here we're gonna say today, which is basically this one. equals to date time dot date time dot now, and we're gonna string f, I think it was f time, and then let's get the format. So as a format, I'm gonna use the first month and then the day. So for example, today is 1st of May, quote, then the first format B, and then D. I think that's it. But in order to use this line, we have to import datetime library. So I'm gonna say import datetime. So here we already asked the question. The next step is to define the model. Which model they're gonna use? The model will be GPT 3.5 Turbo. It's the model used by OpenAI to generate the response. So it's a version of model designed for efficient and rapid responses, let's say. I guess that's it. We have to put colon here. Yeah, I guess that's it. We just need to print the response. So I'm going to say if response that choices. So if there is a response, then we're going to print that response. So we're going to use response that choices. So we're going to use the first response. And here it should be, I think, message that content. So if there is no response, let's say that there is some error. In that case, we're gonna say, just say that no response found. Let's say no response found. And that's it. Basically, this is the script that we're gonna use. Let's save it. Now it is time to run this script. I'm gonna use Python 3 OpenAI project.py. It says client is not defined. There's some typo, it seems. Yes, I guess it's here. Let's save it. Okay, I think I know the error. It should be completions with S, I guess, if I'm not mistaken. If we get the same error again, we can check the API documentation. What's that? It says additional properties are not allowed. Okay, there's a typo as well. Where is that? This one should be content. Let's save it. Let's check one more time. Okay, great. It works. Right now we got the response. I'm gonna run this script one more time. But now I'm gonna redirect the response to, let's say, history.txt file. Let's save it here. Var www.html and history.txt, and if we check it, it's here. Okay, so we're gonna adjust our script to load this data, I mean, like from this history.txt file into our HTML page dynamically. So we're gonna update our HTML to fetch and display the content. So let's do that. So we're gonna open our HTML file, and here after this div, this division, we're gonna use script. Basically, let me just paste it here. So basically what it does, it's a code snippet that's a JavaScript block which executes when the web page is fully loaded. So it specifically deals with fetching text data from the file named history .txt and display that data within a specific part of the web page, like under this history ID. Now let's save it. Now let's refresh the page to see that it works. Where is that? Here. Let's refresh the page. As you see that it works. We got the response from OpenAI and then we just displayed it in our web page. But the next step is actually to ensure that our site updates daily, because every day there will be different day, right? So it means that there's a different event happened. So to make sure that our site updates daily, we're gonna set up a cron job to run our script every midnight. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use cron tab.a. Okay, it seems by default it's not installed. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use yum install cron service. Cron, I think it was cron, yeah. Yes, that's it. So we're gonna enable it. Let's say system ctl enable now cron d service, and let's check the status. Okay, it's running. So let's now do cron tab e. Okay, I'm gonna set the cron job. So 0 0. This means that it will run every day. So user bin Python. This is the full path of Python binary, and then our script. Where is our script actually? It's here. So it's under root. Basically you can do ls. Yes, it's under root. So what I'm just gonna copy it. Let's open on top. So here under root we have root, then our script name, and then we're gonna redirect the output of script to our history.txt file. So it's under var www.html.index, sorry, not index, history.txt. Let's save it. Install a new cron tab. Let's do cron tab l. Okay, it is there. So this means that this script will run every midnight, and then it will redirect the output to this history file, and then our index.html file is gonna take the content from this file and display it on the web page. I have a few domain names, so I'm using for some testing. This is my real domain name, and this is for testing purposes. I'm gonna set up a DNS here. So, but first we have to get the IP address of this virtual machine, and we're gonna create a record. Let's call it record, a tab record. I'm gonna put the IP address here and then save it. And that's it, I guess. So we can refresh it. It will be displayed the same content from this IP. So basically everything right now works, but our web page design very simple. So that's why I'm gonna integrate CSS for styling and maybe possibly use a little JavaScript for the dynamic effects. So I have already actually created one. So I'm just gonna copy the HTML content and paste it in our in our HTML file. So we're gonna open our HTML file, which is under index.html, and we're gonna delete all. Then I'm gonna paste a new file, which is basically added some CSS, and that's it. So let's save it. And if we refresh the page, we're gonna get new design. So I think that's it. It looks perfect. We have created a fully functional website that not only fetches historical data using OpenAI, but also looks great. So try to build these yourself and experiment by adding more features like images or links to the detailed articles. If you do that, please drop a link to your webpage in the comments below so that we can have a look. Alright, I think that's it from me. Bye and happy coding.